In this podcast episode, Chris Bledsoe shares his extraordinary encounters with otherworldly phenomena that transformed his life. He discusses his experiences with alien abduction, spiritual healing, and divine encounters, and reveals his insights into biblical references to UFOs. The conversation also touches on his involvement with high-level government and scientific personnel investigating his claims, an alleged assassination plot against the Pope thwarted through remote viewing, and a broader spiritual awakening tied to the reemergence of divine feminine energies. Chris Bledsoe recounts a life-altering event in 2007 that led to his ongoing spiritual awakening. Since then, he claims to perceive angelic or divine presences that others cannot see, receive new knowledge daily, and possess remarkable abilities such as healing and summoning luminous orbs of light witnessed by thousands. His experiences have increased in intensity and attracted attention from multiple government agencies. He emphasizes that once someone truly experiences these phenomena, there is no going back, as their reality becomes irreversibly expanded. Chris reveals a profound perspective that the Bible contains numerous references to UFOs and extraterrestrial phenomena, which have been historically mistranslated or obscured. He explains that words commonly rendered as cloud in biblical texts often symbolize luminous, cylindrical objects that accompanied divine activity, such as the pillar of cloud guiding the Israelites or the luminous presence at Jesus' baptism. Contrary to traditional interpretations, he states these were physical, technological manifestations. He introduces a feminine divine figure he calls the Lady, identifying her with the Holy Spirit, which he interprets as a feminine, motherly presence connected to the Creator, akin to the Shekinah in Jewish tradition. This presence gave him secret knowledge, including the intentional mistranslation of words dating back to the King James Bible to conceal the UFO nature of these biblical events. Chris stresses the importance of the divine feminine returning to restore balance and expose darkness in the world. Following his encounters, Chris developed heightened psychic and intuitive abilities. He occasionally hears thoughts and messages from others, especially close loved ones, and communicates more easily with animals. His connection to wildlife transformed, with animals such as ducks, foxes, and deer exhibiting friendly, unafraid behavior toward him, a stark contrast to his prior life as a hunter. This shift reflects a deeper respect and empathy for all living beings, reinforcing his commitment to nonviolence and healing. Chris discusses the theme of being tested, which he believes is common among those experiencing near-death or spiritual awakening events. His greatest trial involved fighting a government attempt to take his children, a struggle that nearly cost him his family. Through his faith and perseverance, supported by the feminine divine presence, he overcame this ultimate challenge and embraced his role as a messenger, sharing the truth with others. One of the most remarkable episodes Chris shares is how, in collaboration with retired Army Colonel John B. Alexander and other intelligence operatives, he used remote viewing to prevent an assassination attempt on Pope Francis. He was alerted through a spiritual message about a planned attack during the Pope's visit to Philadelphia. Despite never having been to the city, Chris provided detailed descriptions of the location, a bridge and a boat ramp under it, where the attackers were gathering. The CIA and Secret Service acted on this intelligence, arrested the suspect, and averted the threat. This event earned him recognition and validation from top government officials and intelligence circles. Chris describes numerous occasions where he and researchers from agencies such as NASA, NSA, CIA, DIA, and the Department of Energy jointly observed paranormal phenomena. On one instance, after he prayed publicly on a rooftop near the Library of Congress, a glowing orb appeared and circled the Capitol and White House in intricate figure eights for 45 minutes. This event was filmed, broadcast by some media outlets, and witnessed by high-ranking scientists, yet was largely suppressed from widespread coverage. These demonstrations have helped legitimize his claims within certain government and scientific sectors, though skepticism remains in broader public discourse. Chris films and analyzes luminous orbs that exhibit extraordinary characteristics, including intricate movements, glowing eyes, and transmitted coded messages. Using high-resolution 4K cameras and advanced video processing, He has captured orbs that display what appear to be written symbols or telepathic signals embedded in their light patterns. Although he has not yet fully deciphered these communications, he believes they are transmissions of knowledge from another dimension or higher consciousness, complementing his spiritual mission. Chris shares a vision he received from the feminine divine presence regarding the origins and implications of COVID-19. He believes the virus, or more specifically, the CO agent, was artificially created and released from a laboratory, an event he predicted before the pandemic's widespread recognition. This release triggered a global period of deception and suffering, intended to wake humanity to hidden dark forces and usher in a spiritual awakening. He warns of further conflicts, including a potential war between Israel and Iran, and speaks of a looming greater war expected to start around 2026, urging humanity to seek peace and spiritual clarity. Throughout the conversation, Chris emphasizes that human thoughts create reality and that individuals possess the power to shape their experiences. He warns against summoning or manipulating spiritual forces arrogantly, advocating instead for humble prayer and receptivity to the Holy Spirit. He regards consciousness as an all-encompassing Ethernet, connecting all information and events across time and space, and explains how artists and visionaries tap into this universal field for inspiration. Chris sees himself primarily as a messenger or vessel for divine knowledge rather than a prophet. His mission involves documenting and sharing the truths revealed to him, including the secret history of UFOs in religious texts, the return of the divine feminine, and the warning signs of global spiritual and geopolitical upheaval. He plans to write further books detailing his findings and continuously works to help heal the sick through prayer and spiritual intervention. The dramatic spiritual awakening profoundly changed Chris's personal values and lifestyle. Once focused mainly on work and family, he now devotes his life to helping the sick and spreading a loving truth. He no longer hunts or kills living creatures, showing compassion even to insects, and avoids harming living trees. Chris talks openly about how his cracked heart leads him to cry regularly, moved by the overwhelming love and suffering inherent in the phenomenon he experiences. Chris's experiences drew attention from the Catholic Church and Vatican officials, leading to a formal ceremony honoring his work and the placement of his photo in the Vatican archives alongside historical figures like Galileo and Copernicus. He forged close relationships with religious scholars and scientists who have since converted to Catholicism, viewing his revelations as bridging faith and modern cosmic understanding. The Vatican provided him with support and cautionary advice regarding his interactions with spiritual entities. Drawing on the teachings of Dr. Robert Gilbert, an Egyptologist and sacred geometry scholar, Chris discusses ancient knowledge about Earth's energetic grid lines, including positive and negative energetic ley lines. He explains how ancient civilizations used pendulums and tuned stones, such as obelisks, to transmute negative energies, affecting human health and spiritual well-being. This knowledge correlates with modern experiences of negative entities or subtle forces that can attach to individuals and environments, influencing thoughts and behaviors. Chris affirms the existence of negative non-physical beings, commonly called demons, that can influence or possess individuals, leading to harmful actions. These entities operate by whispering into the mind and can cause people to self-sabotage or fall into suffering. He advocates awareness of this spiritual dimension and encourages vigilance and spiritual practices to overcome such influences. Chris concludes with an urgent call to awareness and spiritual readiness, emphasizing that the current period is one of profound awakening where the divine heavenly dimension is blending with earthly reality. He suggests that some may leave this planet in a transformational way, implying dimensional shifts or ascension processes. He stresses the importance of embracing this awakening to avoid being left behind in future spiritual evolution. Throughout the episode, Chris offers compelling visual evidence from his extensive archives, including videos of orbs displaying alien-like eyes, intricate light patterns, and movements defying conventional explanation. These materials have no known parallels, even within classified government footage, highlighting the uniqueness and authenticity of his encounters. Chris plans to spend extended time in isolated wilderness areas to conduct further research, document encounters, and pursue deeper contact with the feminine divine presence. He intends to publish new works containing comprehensive biblical analyses, historical references, and original images that unveil the hidden connections between spiritual traditions and unexplained phenomena, aiming to prove these realities conclusively to a skeptical world.